7 subtle traits people underestimate, but psychology doesn't. Some people don't react loudly. They don't explain themselves. They move quietly through life, and most people overlook them. Psychology says there's something most people miss. These quiet patterns aren't random. They're signals of a highly attuned mind. And if you recognize these signals in yourself, this video is going to make you feel seen like never before. Let's break down 7 subtle traits that get underestimated, but your mind never does. 1. You feel deeply, but rarely show it. You don't react the way people expect. Something big happens. Others get loud, emotional, expressive. You go quiet. Not because nothing landed, but because everything did. Psychology links this to high emotional processing. Instead of releasing emotion outward, your system processes it inward first. You feel things fully, but privately, which means people often misread you as unaffected. In reality, you just don't leak what you're still understanding. 2. You pause before reacting. You don't respond immediately. You sit with things. You let moments settle. To fast-moving people, that pause looks like hesitation or uncertainty. But psychologically, it's cognitive restraint. Your brain checks meaning, consequences, context before choosing a response. You don't mistake speed for clarity, so you wait. And in a world addicted to instant reactions, that pause gets underestimated. You notice what isn't said. You're not just listening to words, you're reading the space between them. The tone shift that goes unnoticed, the sentence someone never finished, the hesitation before they speak. You pick up on all of it. Psychologists call this contextual sensitivity. While most people focus on surface details, your mind is tracking patterns, gaps, and inconsistencies in real time. That subtle eyebrow raise, the slight pause, or even the words someone avoided saying, to you, it speaks volumes. This ability makes you quietly powerful. You anticipate shifts in conversations, sense tensions before they explode, and often know the truth of a situation before anyone else does. The downside? It can feel exhausting. You're always noticing layers of reality that others ignore, which can make interactions draining, even when everything seems normal on the surface. 4. You've outgrown people quietly. There was no fight, no speech, no dramatic ending. You just stopped showing up the same way. Psychology associates this with internal boundary recalibration. Instead of forcing separation outward, you shift inward first. Your energy changes, your availability changes, your tolerance changes, and eventually, the connection fades. People assume you drifted. In reality, you moved on internally long before. And here's where most people get it completely wrong about you. The next trait is the one that can make others underestimate you the most. Pay attention, because this one quietly defines how you interact with the world and how people perceive your strength without ever realizing it. 5. You're comfortable being misunderstood. You don't rush to clarify every assumption. If someone misreads you, you don't immediately correct them. Not because you agree, but because you don't need consensus. Psychology ties this to self-concept stability. You know who you are internally, so external misunderstanding doesn't threaten you. Explaining yourself constantly feels unnecessary. The right people adjust, the rest reveal themselves. If you recognize these patterns without needing them explained, this channel probably makes sense to you. Subscribe if you prefer understanding over noise. 6. You protect your energy. You say no early. You leave situations before they drain you. You don't overextend just to be nice. Psychologically, this reflects nervous system awareness. You sense overstimulation before it turns into burnout. So you limit access, engagement, emotional exposure. People sometimes interpret this as distance, but it's regulation. You know that energy spent carelessly costs clarity later. 7. You know when something is over. You don't cling. When a phase ends, a job, a dynamic, a version of yourself, you feel it. And once that internal conclusion happens, you don't negotiate with it. Psychology links this to closure readiness. You don't need chaos to leave. You don't need permission. You trust the signal. So when it's done, it's done. Quietly, cleanly, without explanation. Why these traits get underestimated? Because they don't perform. They don't seek validation. They don't create scenes. They don't compete for visibility. They operate internally. And internal traits are easy to miss in a culture trained to notice only what's loud. But psychology pays attention to patterns, not volume.